so much for being here. I'm going to do a quick little adjustment on my screen. There we go. Hey, have you guys heard of something called the Mulmur Horde or the Mulmur Barrel? If you haven't, we're going to be talking about that today. But before we begin, I need to make a little bit of a clarification. The post that I made on my public page, it's tomato juice, folks. My dog got sprayed with a skunk, so if you look at that picture, please don't freak out. The dog is okay. She just smells horrible. It's been an exhilarating morning, but hope everybody's okay. I had somebody say, you know, you disturbed me for a moment. I don't want to be disturbing. Just want to make sure that everybody understands what that image is. It's very clear, but I just wanted to make sure. Eric and Paula, good morning. How are you? Hope you're doing well.
Doing great. Good morning, everybody.
Good morning. Good morning.
Well, I want to start by doing something that I had done for a while and I kind of got away from it. And this is to talk a little bit about some stories. Now, you know, it's the semi-quincentennial, and the semi-quincentennial is the 250th anniversary of the signing of the Declaration of Independence. But throughout history, there have been other things that have happened around major milestones of our nation. One of them happened just 3 days after the centennial. We're going to be talking about that, and it relates to Jesse James. So for anyone who stacks silver, gold, or collects, the dream to find or to stumble upon a hoard is something that everybody wants to find. We have a lot of friends that do searches. They take their metal detectors out, and it's always people's dream to be able to find something. And this is something that I didn't know about until a couple days ago when I was reading a story in the A&A magazine. And it was about the Mulmur Barrel. And I wanted to share this with you. I don't have a lot on the screen that I'm going to be showing. It's just a matter of kind of talking about it. But the Mulmur Barrel represents one of the greatest long-term stores or holds in history, if it actually even exists. So what are we talking about? Well, in 1876, there was a group of people called the Pinkertons. And if you don't know what the Pinkertons were, the Pinkertons existed before the FBI. They were a national detective agency, and they were the most feared law enforcement group in the world. Their logo, a giant unblinking eye, and they had the slogan, "We never sleep." The Pinkertons were hired by the railroad to stop the James Gang. Now, these guys, they were ruthless. They were relentless. So much so that they thought they had Jesse James cornered. And the Pinkertons tossed a bomb inside the Jesse family home in Missouri. It killed a brother-in-law, blew the arm off his mother. And he knew that with that level, he had to get away from his brothers. He had to get away from his mother. He had to disappear. But you don't take a bunch of money that you've stole from train robberies and bank robberies and put it in a bank. So he had to do something that was a little bit different. Again, you have these undercover spies, the brutal tactics of the Pinkertons, and he knew he had to get away. There wasn't a vault that he could put it in. So what did he have to do? Well, he headed north, crossing the border and into Canada. He wanted to try and find some peace. But in Canada, he wasn't known as Jesse James. He was the man that they called Mr. Richardson. And in the 1870s, this quiet American man who had more money than he seemed to know what to do with. He was polite. He seemed to have an endless supply of silver and gold. Didn't look like a bandit. Didn't look like anything that was foul. But he needed a place to take on a new identity. And he did so in this little town about 100 kilometers northwest of Toronto. We call ourselves stackers and collectors, but he was a stacker by necessity. See, he couldn't carry his wealth in his pocket. He couldn't trust banks, and he had to hide his loot. So he took his thousands of silver and gold coins, supposedly placed them into a 45-gallon barrel, and then put a metal cover, a metal iron lid over the top of it to protect it from the damp Canadian soil. He then buried it deep near a blacksmith shop on what they called 10 Side Road. And to hide the dig site, he dragged this massive flagstone or fieldstone over the top of it and covered it with earth. Now that's the legend. But why does the legend live on? Well, one reason is because of something called the tip. And the tip was something that happened near a town called Gulf. And it was reported that a stranger on a really nice horse paid an extraordinary toll to a young man. And this boy, whose fee was about as much as a candy bar, was paid this toll with a $20 gold American double eagle. So I want you to think about that. A candy bar, you pay $5,000 for a candy bar. It was pretty rich. And that story had traveled quite widely. I mean, think about it. You paying for a soda with a gold bar. It's unheard of. It's it's the move of a man who really had more money than he knew what to do with. There was another story about a man by the name of James Bailey. Now, James Bailey was one of these that people believe that the hoard was found. He was a wealthy landowner, but he didn't have tons of money just laying around. He had cattle, he had his stock, and he had a big piece of property. But years later, he started to build a house, and the house got bigger and bigger and bigger. And something that was strange in the time frame is to have a stained glass window. Well, he had multiple stained glass windows, and they were extremely expensive at the time. The locals knew he hadn't come across a bunch of money, but yet here he is with this mansion of stained glass windows, incredibly expensive, and nothing new to speak of. The locals swore he found the Richardson stash while plowing the fields. Oh, by the way, he lived pretty close to that area that it was supposed to be found, or supposed to be buried in. The last one comes with knowing a face. And we all know that a picture is worth 1,000 words, 10,000 if it's a good photo. But Jesse James died in 1882. And when that happened, the photo of him was placed in every newspaper from Mexico all the way up into Canada. When those papers reached Ontario, Canada, something in the Princeton area was immediately noticed. Hey, that's Mr. Richardson. He wasn't just a visitor. He was actually one of the most famous outlaws in the world. Now, why do I say this? Well, Jesse caught wind that the Pinkertons had actually crossed the border, and he knew he needed to get back. But one doesn't just pick up a barrel of gold and silver coins. It's too big, it's too hard, it's too heavy to move. So he had to leave it behind. I'm sure he had the intent of coming back for it, but unfortunately he never returned. But how does this tie into the semi-quincentennial? How does this tie into our nation's history? Well, on July 7th of 1876, 3 days after the United States celebrated its centennial, the 100th anniversary, Jesse and his gang pulled off one of the most famous robberies in a town called Otterville, Missouri. They stopped a train and made off with roughly $15,000 in cold hard currency. Now, this supposedly happened after he had left Canada. So even though he had left Canada just 3 days after the nation was celebrating a century of freedom, Jesse and his brothers were still collecting the very gold that we hunt for today. The semi-quincentennial, again, as I stated before, is the 250th anniversary of the signing of the Declaration of Independence. And there's a lot of stories. And you guys know me. I love my HOARD stories. But I just felt that it was relevant more now than ever. People are always looking for a way to achieve. People always looking for a way to grow. But in order to do that, we have to remember the stories and the lessons of our past. And for us, as collectors and numismatists, the history isn't just in our books. It's in the coins that we see day in and day out. So the next time you look at an 1876 $20 gold piece, or the next time you look at an 1876 trade dollar, the next time you look at an 1876 seeded half, remember that our history isn't just in those books. It was buried in the dirt, stamped into the metal, and hidden in the legends of men who lived and died by the weight of their gold. So I want to go over a couple things real quick. These are just a little bit of fun facts. Thank you so much, Little Feather, for the subscriber. I appreciate it. Welcome to the channel. Thank you so much for being here. Again, we talk about the Centennial Raid, the Otterville, Missouri. I just mentioned that. July 7th, 1876, just 3 days after the celebration of the Centennial. The Liberty Bank job, one of the biggest ones. It's called the first daylight bank robbery in history. 1866. The Keechee Hills cache in Oklahoma, where gold hunters still look for that thing called the iron doors. It's 2 brass buckets of gold that are supposed to be hidden in the hills or the cliffs in Oklahoma. And then, of course, we have the Mulmur barrel. Now, the Mulmur barrel story is something that I had not heard before until I saw it in the magazine from the A&A. So if you happen to be an A&A member and you get those, make sure you're reading some of these stories. There's a lot of great information that comes from these stories. And in fact, there's one more piece before we get into our chit chat that I want to talk about. Eric and Paula, you remember a couple weeks ago, we were talking about the cents, the Lincoln cents, and how no time in history in the U.S. has any coin been demonetized. You remember that?
Yes.
I do.
Okay. You know what? We're wrong.
Half-cent wasn't it?
No.
Oh, wait. There was one.
There was one coin, and it wasn't until I was doing the research for
It
this.
was a gold coin, right?
No.
No?
No. So what happened with the gold coins is the gold coin ended up being a pattern coin. They were intending it to be a coin, but they never relinquished it as a monetary value. It does carry the dollar name on it, but it was never released as currency. It was never released as money because, again, there is a law that's required. The only one that was done was something of a coin in 1876. And I mentioned it earlier. And it wasn't the seated Liberty. By the way, it was
dollar.
Yep, it was the trade dollar. The trade dollar was demonetized from 1876 to 1965. In 1965, there was a law that was pushed out, reconfirmed in 1980, that said all U.S. monetization that had been in the past is done again. Yeah, not the $4 set, it was the trade dollar. Yep, Mike got it too. And it's the only one. Now, here's the thing. It's still considered monetized.
Right.
Because, again, in 1965, that law came about and actually traded that. But I wanted to bring that to you because it was really ironic that I would read a story in a magazine, start trying to find something about it, and then find the only coin that I had missed. So what happened, the reason for this was they were called the so-called dollars, right? The I love that the name for this is the post-war hangover.
Mm.
Because the South was still under Reconstruction after the Civil War. The Southerners felt that the centennial was a Northern celebration. It caused issues. There was scandal at the mint where the midnight dies happened. Some people believe the workers at the mint were utilizing the stamp to make extra coins. There was the counterfeiting scandal that happened during this time frame during the Great Exhibition of Philadelphia, where people felt it was really easy to fake these coins. And then I come across the 1876 and what happened with this particular coin. So I'm going to give you a quick breakdown. So in the 1870s, the American merchants wanted to trade with China. And the China preferred the 8 real. This was very common. They were trusted. They were known throughout the world. And again, up until 1853, the real was part of American currency. It was something that we had actually traded. It was something that we had actually used as part of our monetary system. And in 1853, we passed the act that no foreign money, no foreign metals would be allowed to be claimed as such. Well, we still needed something to trade in. Now, as you mentioned, the $4 Stella, same basic premise. But what happened with the trade dollar was the trade dollar was created in 1873 for international trade. It was heavier than the Morgan and the seated. The Morgan was 412.5 grains, and the trade dollar was 420 grains. It's actually stamped on the coin. The problem was that for domestic use, the law was passed that the government said that you could use the legal tender limit of $5 when being used in the United States. That meant you could pay for groceries or goods or something with up to 5 of them. No more, only 5. It was never meant to be circulated here in the United States. It was meant to go overseas. But in 1876, the centennial year, again, it's fun how those things happen, the price of silver began to crash. Another interesting topic considering what's happening in the silver and gold market today. But the trade dollar was worth less than $1. And so in 1876, the business owners started to panic. And what they did was pretty crooked. They actually started to make their employees take trade dollars as payment for work. So they were actually getting devalued at 80 cents. The problem is that the workers couldn't spend them at the store for their silver value, and it became a massive scam that hurt the working class. It was a major issue. It was actually a really big problem. And yeah, Luther, they're definitely counterfeited more.
Mhm.
But it took 111 years for the trade dollar to get remonetized. And it was the Coinage Act of 1965, as Mike had indicated in chat, that the United States finally restored the legal tender of all the previous coinage. This is why we stated the other day that all of the United States coinage is still monetized. That happened in the Act of 65. Now, in the 80s, there was additional legislation that happened and provided further clarification. But again, it did store the legal tender status of every U.S. coin that had been demonetized, which there's only the one. Again, talking about some gold coins, there were some things that happened regarding some of the pattern coins where they wanted them to become normal monetized items that never happened. There were designed elements that they wanted to create that never became monetized. But I wanted to talk about this because there's, in the stacking community and the collecting community, you'll still hear things about distrust of the Fed and the government messing with the value of people's money. This is something that has gone on for millennia. It's not just a US thing. This is something that has happened throughout history. And the story of Jesse James, this story of the 1876 trade dollar was a perfect environment in which outlaws like Jesse James would be seen as Robin Hood. See, not everybody trusted the institution. The trade dollar was blamed on the trade dollar was the blame for the trade dollar. Let me say it that way, was cast to the railroads and the banks. Again, we still see this very thing today. And I wanted to bring this to everybody's attention because when we look at coins, and I talk about this a lot in my channel, people go, what is it about, Frosty, what does he like to do? I like to talk about the history and things. But I like to look at a coin and remember its history. I like to look at a coin and remember the stories behind what happened in that particular year. I like to look at people like Jack Riley and Jack Young and hear of the counterfeits that they've done and how they've been able to identify and mark the items that help people know whether something is real or fake. And looking at the trade dollar, it was mentioned by Luther earlier, it's one of the most counterfeit coins when it comes to silver, but it's not. Ironically, it's still the Morgan, but the most counterfeit things that are out there are gold. And so being able to identify and share information like this with you guys is something that I really enjoy doing. And I wanted to take a few moments, number one, to correct something that we talked about, which was none of the coins had been demonetized. Wasn't totally true. And you guys know integrity is huge.
I think we talked about it, though.
Well, we didn't talk about the 1876 trade dollar because we had talked about a lot of the coins, the potential for some of these done. We had never actually talked about the demonetization of it. But we had said the statement was that we had never had a U.S. coin demonetized, and that's not technically correct.
Yeah, Frosty, didn't Congress demonetize the half-cent, 2-cent piece, and then 3-cent piece, and then they remonetized them after?
Right before, I think right away.
I think
seems like I remember them talking about it or something. And
I think it's the same thing that we had with the cent, right? Which is they're getting rid of them. I don't think it was actually demonetized. I have looked to see if I could find anything else that was demonetized. This is the only one that I can find. Mike says, I see plenty of legit trade dollars. I have two. I have one with and one without the marks, which we can talk about.
I remember reading about it.
So
yeah, it was just discontinued.
Yeah. Yeah, they weren't demonetized. I think this is the only one. But again, 1965, the year that they screwed us with silver, is the year that they remonetized those items. But I just wanted to go through. So again, just to kind of track history of the 1876 trade dollar, it's 420 grains. It was stripped of its legal tender status in 1876. It was supposed to be an export to China, and then it was reestablished in the 1960s and 80s with the U.S. monetary value. So again, 30 minutes. We talk about our story. We talk a little about history.
Hang on. Can I read something real quick?
Please.
Okay. So this says, on several occasions, Congress has amended the Coinage Act to demonetize a specified coin from the list of circulating coins authorized to be produced by the Secretary of the Treasury through the U.S. Mint. This in focus highlights two occasions when Congress statutorily discontinued and demonetized a coin: the half-cent coin, 1857, and the quarter eagle, $2.50 gold coin.
Okay. So I did not know
that's
those.
from the Library of Congress, because I'm reading it right as she's.
Yeah. Let's see. The Mint notes on its web page that the half-cent coin was discontinued because it had become unpopular, and that ending its production saved the overall copper. The final half-cent coins were issued. Shows an example of the half-cent. Let's see, Congress authorized that year, Congress amended the Coinage Act to end production of the half cent and to remove it from its list of authorized legal tender
Oh,
And that's
wow.
46 stat.
that could be
154.
produced.
Okay. So I stand corrected. So there are 3 coins then.
Yeah.
So there's the half cent, the 2.5 gold eagle, and the
And the trade dollar. So
1876 trade
this
dollar.
was those two were the half cent and the gold coin were under the Coinage Act of 1792.
Well, those were the original ones, yeah. And that was the one that
Yeah.
authorized those initial coins. Does it say which amendment? Because
It
there had
does.
to.
It does say. It says for the 1857. Let's see. Let's see where
Statute. Let's see. 11
is 11 statute
dot
163 for the half
Mhm.
cent, and then the other one is a 1930 statute, and that is 46 statute 154.
Now, see, I don't know. Removing it from their list of legal tender, does that constitute demonetization?
It does. Because they did it. They talked about doing the 2 and 3 cent pieces, but in
But
hindsight, they didn't do
doesn't
it.
that just mean it can't circulate?
It means you couldn't spend it at a store.
But what I'm saying though is, does that remove its monetization? Could you still take it to a bank?
I'm not sure. I don't think so.
If that's the case, then no, you wouldn't be able to take it in. If it's been demonetized, it's no longer accepted as current.
But they
you
don't
wouldn't be able to
use
take it
they
in.
don't use they don't call it demonetization. Maybe they did up above.
They did in the
Well,
statutory acts. It actually says
okay.
demonetization.
Remove best from the list of circulate. Okay, so removing from the list of circulating coins and demonetization is the same thing in there. Okay. Yeah.
They were overruled
Eric
by
kept
the
pushing
Coinage
that,
Act of
so I'm like, maybe
64.
I should look that up because he must have read that somewhere.
Yeah, it was changed in 64 where they're all legal tender again. I think even wasn't there a 33 gold coin that wasn't? And I think that, after the gold coins were all taken back by the government.
So thank you so much for sharing the statutory number, because I've been able to find the acts that it's actually a part of.
Yeah.
So the Coinage Act of 1857. 1857 is the one that also did the foreign coins. Before this, the Spanish silver was widely used. That's the 1853, 1857 acts. And the half cents were officially discontinued, and it was removed from the list of legal tender. So that is there. I did not know that that was there. So that's really interesting. All of them were reestablished in 65. The other one, joint resolution, trade dollars fully stripped of legal tender.
Mm-hmm.
Coinage Act 1873, the end of bimetallic items. I already knew that one. The Act of April 23, 1930, quarter eagle 250 gold coins were stripped of legal tender. All of them were recirculated, or all of them are reaccepted in the Coin Act of 65. And then the Gold Reserve Act, all circulating gold coinage that had a monetary value was returned. So 4 years later, the quarter eagle was reinstated. And then it wasn't until 65 that the trade dollar and the half cent. So
good to know. Yeah.
So I didn't know that statute, but that's outstanding.
I'm glad you kept saying that, Eric, because I like I said, I was like, he must have read that somewhere.
He probably did. One of my useless pieces of information.
Well, you were persistent, and usually you're not like, you're not persistent like that.
If I don't know, if I'm really 99% sure, I usually don't say
so I put a link up there for people if they want to read it.
Yeah. So now Bill 457 says that obsolete currency, 500, 1,000, 5,000, 10,000, and the $100,000 bill. Those are not, but those are not coins. Those are bills. And a lot of those The larger denomination, the $10,000, the $100,000, they were utilized for institutional. They weren't necessarily
Yeah, I
available to
think
the
there was
general
only
public.
$600,000 bills, wasn't there?
Yeah, and they just used one of the $100,000 bills as part of an EFT, where you could buy squares of it for $1,000, $1,500.
No way.
Absolutely, I did a story on it.
Really?
Yep.
That's so cool.
Yeah, so you could actually buy a little square of that particular item. If you give me just a second, I will pull up the thumbnail. I will share the thumbnail and you can see that. Hold on just a second.
That's hysterical. Eric,
I did a full story about it.
Mike.
Yeah, Eric kept saying that. And I'm glad you did. Because I could not find anything on it. So I really appreciate that.
I think he talked about it the last time we were talking.
We talked about it. I brought it up again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I didn't listen to him. He talks a lot. I don't listen to most of the stuff he says.
Right, man. You're not the only one.
But anyway, I thought it was a fun story. And, you know, again, when I see stuff like that, I like to share information out. And the more I started to research that, the more it kind of tied to, you know, just a few days after the centennial, again, another major milestone for the U.S. There were just a lot of cool things that happened during that time frame. So I wanted to share that with you guys. So I hope you enjoyed that. But again, even on my channel, I get to learn. I appreciate the opportunity to do that.
Well, did you know, little known fact, that the eye on the Pinkerton thing was where they got private eye from?
I did know that. Thank you for sharing that. That's an inside joke, folks.
Yeah.
But no, that is.
I was a little late with my fake little bit of knowledge there.
I told Paula, you can say this, by the way. No, but it is a true fact that the eye that was utilized by the Pinkertons actually gave rise to the term private eye, and that's where that private eye came from. Just a cool, interesting tidbit.
You mean it's not from the Hall & Oates song?
Da, 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 da. That's a good song. Where in the world is that?
Need more coffee.
I cannot find it for the life of me. I don't know where it's at. Well, hey, let's say hi to some folks in chat. What's going on? Let's say hi. So who's here? John Hanna, what's going on? Walter Boudreau, Will B. Vote for Pedro. What's going on, brother? Hope you're doing well.
Thibodeau.
Thibodeau. Did I say something wrong?
You said Boudreau.
Oh, Walter Boudreau. Yeah, I think I say that all the time. Sorry, dude. I'm just going to start calling you Walter.
Walter.
Hey, Walter. I miss James Rockford.
Well, they're making a remake of it, so you won't miss him for long.
What is James Rockford?
You don't know
Rockford Files?
Yeah, there you go.
Rockford Files, yeah.
They're like, holy smokes. How can you not know that?
Yeah.
Yeah. Mike Noodle, what's going on? Hope you're doing well. Legal tender is what makes people must accept money. That's correct. Good to see you. Chappie, what's going on? Hope you're doing well. Thank you so much for being here. Face Miner, good day. David Chung, hope you guys are doing well. Thank you so much for coming in and hanging out.
Morning, everybody.
Well, what else would you guys like to chit-chat about? I just wanted to share that tidbit of information with everybody. I always find those things really interesting.
Hi, Mark Lewis. Good morning.
I am trying to find, and for the life of me, cannot find the EFT. I'm just going to have to pull it up. Let me go find that real quick. $100,000 EFT.
Luther asked if it's illegal to own that. How is it legal to own a square of it?
So you are, the way that it works, I'll pull this up and I'll show you what they had done. And what it is the person who owned it actually allowed people to do what's called an EFT. And that is where you have an item and then you can buy a piece of it. You actually own, like when people do stocks and things of that nature. So you actually buy a piece of the element. And so they've insured it. It's all good. They have it there. But you can actually purchase this. You can actually purchase a square of this. And I think they've all been sold out. Trying to find.
I thought EFT was an electronic funds transfer.
Yeah, actually, $100,000 bills were never legal to own, period. They were
Why did they make them?
They made them for
large
interbank transfers.
Oh, okay.
But there was somebody who was able to purchase one when they demonetized. It's a $100,000 gold certificate. It was monetized. It was issued by the U.S. federal government. Printed in 1934. Was not intended for general use. And I'm going to show you. I can get this to pull up.
Like the bed sheets.
It is legal to own any other bill except that, and they're not demonetized.
So this is the bill.
Oh, that's cool looking.
And what they did is they actually took little squares about this size.
Gold certificate.
Yep, they took little squares about this size across the entire thing, and then you could buy squares. Obviously, people bought the face, and then the gold, and then the 100,000 first, then the numbers, and then obviously the fields were the last thing to go. Yeah, so people actually bought it. I can't, for the life of me, I can't find the article on it. I don't know where it's at.
So it's a gold certificate.
Yep.
Okay. $100,000 in gold.
Guess the Smithsonian has an uncut sheet of 12, as does the Federal Reserve.
Nice.
I'm just going to have to go back to my channel and find out what I did, and I'll put the link in there if anybody wants to see it.
Can you profit now that they are no longer being minted? Wasn't that the rule? Coin could be melted for profit.
You can't melt the coins. The penny.
Yeah.
Oh, here it is. So the reason I couldn't find it. It was actually a Stack Collector episode that I did. So we will pull up.
Are you talking about this bill, Will? Bill Will?
He was talking about can you melt pennies for art? Oh, you can melt pennies for art, but not for profit. That is the actual correct, and it's education too.
All right, so here I'm going to share this again. I'm going to take this off. I'm going to show you. I will put the link of this if you are interested in. And the question was, would you buy this? You just make this big so you can see it. So these are the actual squares. So you could actually purchase this. Donald Hagen, John Fisher, they're the ones who actually purchased this and sold it. But you could actually buy the squares just like this of this $100,000 gold certificate. They sold from anywhere between $1,500 and $2,500 per square. Yeah, I know some people can, vomit.
Yes, Bill. That's hysterical.
Yeah, and
nice to have money just to flush like that, eh?
Yeah. So, but you actually can say that you own a piece of this.
That's true.
$100,000
bill of $100,000 bill.
Yeah, and so really neat, interesting thing. There was there's more
Reminds
on it.
me a little bit of something that now you hippie folks would know exactly what I'm talking about. Something else you could buy in little squares.
Oh Lord! Now we were talking about showing our age.
That was way back when.
Yeah. Now we're showing our age.
I'm sorry, I've got that foot and mouth disease.
Yeah, it's okay, no worries. So this is And I'm looking, so you can see this is a stack collector. It's been a while. I was at 5,600 subscribers back at that time frame.
Oh, NFT.
NFT. They say EFT. NFT.
You said EFT.
NFT. Non-fungible token is what that stands for. But this is the actual thing. This is the share. This is what it looked like. And you could actually buy that item. They do have it in a protected area. It's in a protected vault. It is insured. But yeah, so this was something that allowed people the opportunity to basically own a piece of history. And if you want to know more about it, like I said, I can copy the URL up here, put this down in chat.
Oh, so you don't actually, they didn't actually cut the bill.
Oh, no. The bill's
You just
at 100%. Yep.
You just have like a certificate of ownership or something like that.
And you can sell it if you want to.
Interesting.
And so these eventually will go on the market, and in the right hands, obviously, you know, this will be whatever. This is just, it's a real novelty, truthfully. It's one of those things that there's a lot of people that did this. I thought about it for a time, try to determine if I wanted to do it, because it would be interesting to have a certificate of one share of $100,000 bill. I couldn't pull the plug. I just couldn't stomach spending $1,800 for a share of this. Yeah, go ahead.
Because it's a gold certificate, does the value go up too?
So
with gold, that sounds like that's probably a stupid.
No,
question.
the last chance to turn it in for gold would have been 71.
No, I know, but it seems like, because anyway.
Well, it's got numismatic value. So whatever the numismatic value of the item is at the time that you sell it is what your piece is going to be with, right? Little Feather Wolf, thank you so much for subscribing. Greatly appreciate that. You'll see your name on the screen. So thank you so much for being here. But yeah, it was an interesting piece. And again, this was done quite a while ago. I did put the link in chat if you want to go watch that Stack Collector episode. I'll go ahead and pin that for you. But yeah, it was an interesting story. So, but this was one of those that was never open for public dissemination. I think they were banks and large industry only. And again, as he said, I think there were only a total of 6. Now, the one thing on this one that was unique is that, if I remember correctly, and I'm going to scroll through here, see, there's...
I'm going to have to read up on that now, because that is so cool. I think, well, I like weird stuff, so...
Yeah, so there is, I'm trying to find, there's another piece of it, and I don't know.
And they numbered the grid.
They have other stuff that you can, that he has other notes that you can actually buy outright. These are some of the things that they have in their collection, but
I'm not a note collector, but I do think that is really a cool.
That is the actual certificate. That is the actual piece. It has been, like I said, insured and protected, and pretty neat little item.
It is really neat.
Woodrow Wilson is the ultimate American trader. Yeah, we won't get into how he was as a president, but yeah, as phony as $100,000 bill.
There's always something in this hobby, right, that you can learn about. Always something.
Yeah, so this wasn't a government sell. This was a private sell done through the company that I showed you earlier. And again, it's here. So it's Kagan's. You could probably go look at that. It's Kagan's Digital, I think, is the name of the site.
Ownership. So were they the only ones to do it, or did other people like get on board and do it after them?
So they've done a lot of different stuff. They've done a lot of different NFT based items. The stuff that they've NFT'd is ridiculous. But this particular one, I don't know of anybody else doing it with a bill like this. Now, does it mean that they won't in the future? Maybe they will. Maybe they already have. I haven't really necessarily tracked it, but it is definitely something that was interesting.
Started rounding your change down. Well, yeah.
Do I know how many certificates? So Farm Dog, all of them have been sold. But you can reach out on the secondary market to these folks and still get them. I haven't really done much on this. Let me check and see if I can find let me see if I can find the Kagans and see if I can pull it up and see.
The reverse of the $100,000 bill is actually kind of cool.
It is. I'll pull that up in just a second.
Yeah, pull that up.
I'm pulling it. Still closed. View brochure.
Beautiful.
Here we go. So I am going to share this. Move that. Let me. So I will actually walk through this pamphlet so you guys can see exactly what's going on. So this is the actual pamphlet that was released during the time frame. And here you see the $100,000 bill. And then this is the back specimen, not negotiable. So this is actually the back of this. You can see on the back, you can
That's
see.
That's not a real one then.
It is a real one. This is the specimen. This is, you can see the back that it punched through. And then here's the information. I'm going to leave this here. You guys can read it. I'm not going to read it out loud.
So are there $100,000 gold certificates and then $100,000 notes? Are there two different types?
No.
No.
No, there's only the one.
Because that's, as a specimen, that doesn't have the reverse that most of them have.
Yeah, so here's the Federal Reserve of New York states the short-lived 34 series gold certificates were printed from December 18 to January 9. They were issued to the Treasurer of the United States, the Federal Reserve Banks, only against equal amounts of gold bullion held by the Treasury Department. Paper money by the United States. Ida Freidberg says 42,000 of the notes being printed, but most were destroyed by the U.S. government. Issued notes distinct bright colored back. Yeah,
that particular bill was not legal tender. It's a specimen. If you go down your article that you're reading, it said thus the only bill that was available for the coin or the collecting community was a specimen.
So to answer the question, how you could do that when the law is you can't, this is one. This is the specimen. But it is the Friedberg 2413. It actually has its own number. Talks a lot about it. Talks a lot about the history. And then again, there's only a few examples. Most of them.
Yeah, I think this is the bill that there's 6 of, right? Floating around.
Maybe. Yeah.
So what are you looking at, Eric, that has the actual back to it?
Right. If you look at, you want me to share my screen?
Yeah, go ahead, fire away.
All right. Let's see.
Yeah, as you're the amount of money on this thing is ridiculous. I don't remember. I think it states what it went for. But these are, so, like I said, those are some of the other ones.
There you go. I got it waiting for you.
Has anyone found a new 20? Yeah, they're being found. THS.
See, that's beautiful. I like that. I don't know why.
That's nice.
United States of America, $100,000. Now that doesn't say anything about.
Zoom in a little bit, Eric. Make your screen.
It being a gold certificate.
Hold your control key down and roll your. There you go.
$100,000 bill reverse.
Yeah, that is the that's the one that was.
The one
Pretty
that was
cool.
that is cool. It looks like a Willy Wonka gold
Yeah, the gold ticket, exactly.
yeah, golden ticket.
Got a golden ticket. That's another great movie. So, but yeah, it's an interesting bill. And again, you can look at it now. Here's the thing: if you want to go to the website if you want to go to the website to manage your piece, you actually have a password that allows you to get into it, and then it allows you to trade. So you can actually put it back up, and then you can trade. But you have to have a password to do it. They don't just allow everybody to pull it up because the cell is closed.
It does look like Monopoly money.
They're doing another one, I think.
I'll take Boardwalk for $100,000.
One of the Eureka gold bars that were found in a hoard from the recovery of the SS Central America. The Eureka bar stands as the most significant gold ingot to the California gold rush, and it looks like they're doing something with it as well. So it looks like they're probably doing more with this NFT stuff. But again, in order to get into some of this stuff, you actually have to have actually have access. So it's not just open to everybody.
Can you get it graded? What do you mean, Bill? The little square?
It's already graded.
It's already graded.
Yeah. You don't actually get the little square in hand. You just get it like a certificate of ownership.
It's kind of like
I wonder if you could possibly get your certificate of ownership graded. I don't know.
Do you remember about 15, 20 years ago, you could buy a star and have it named on a map for you? I wonder whatever happened with that map.
You can still do it.
You can still do it.
Oh, really?
You can buy
I don't hear about it now. I was just saying, all these people spent money on having their stars named after them, and then nobody even knows about it anymore.
So if you want to know about the offering memorandum for Kagan's or about that company, then you can click on that particular link and you can read the legal jargon that's there. But yeah, it was a really cool story. The proceeds, total sales 150 units, will generate approximately 300,000 in working capital for the firm to purchase additional numismatic items and real world assets.
Interesting.
So yeah, pretty cool. They talk all about what's going on. They talk about the potential risk factors. They explain what an NFT is. They talk about the valuation risks and the fact that you may lose deal. You could gain money, but you could lose money. There's a whole basic breakdown. So if you want to know more about that, you want to dig into that, that's there. So but yeah, interesting stories and cool stuff.
Very cool stuff. Have you found any new 2026 coins, either of you guys?
I have not.
No, but I will tell you what I got. I reached out to a friend of mine in Florida, reached out to a friend of mine in Massachusetts, reached out to a friend of mine in Philadelphia, one in Denver, and I contacted my sister and my mom in Salt Lake and Oregon, and I'm having them send me just general rolls of dimes from the different places in the U.S. And I'm going to open them. I'm going to look at them, and we're going to see if we can find one.
Interesting. Yeah, I haven't seen anything or heard of anything near me.
You should tell. I'm sorry, go ahead.
I haven't gotten new coins since 2023 here.
If you buy new rolls from your bank, ask your tellers to get them from the most recent boxes that they have got. Because oftentimes they have boxes that have been sitting there for a long time.
Yeah, I got my neighbor teller just looking. She says if she sees
they don't give a whole lot of change at banks.
They need to change that.
Change that.
That needs to be changed.
So
Yeah,
they
it's a
could
dumb
have
bum.
boxes that have been sitting there for a year, and you're obviously not going to get new coins out of those. If you
Yeah,
buy
there's-
boxes or rolls from your bank, make sure you just ask them, can I get some rolls from the most recent? Or, I mean, they might not have even gotten any recently. So,
Well, and I'm getting 4 or 5 rolls from each location,
nice.
simply just to look. Because I think it'd be fun if you have a roll. They look like regular dimes. You open it up and you just happen to find the side. I think that would be cool. I can tell you that my mom's bank gives out a lot of misinformation. Because they said that, well, the United States Mint isn't putting them out in rolls. They're just giving them out in loose change, and it's up to the bank to wrap them in rolls. And I'm like, no.
They just don't want people buying every box that comes through the door.
No. Yeah, so that's not. I am going to look at the halves, but I've been watching people who do half rolls. There's enough people doing those that I don't necessarily need to do that. But I'm really looking for the dimes. I want to see if I can find the dimes in circulation somewhere.
And if they don't need them, they won't put the halves out.
Well, I can tell you that Dig and Dave got an entire box of $50.
Of 2026?
Yes.
All right, so they are putting them out then.
He sold them in a day. They sold out. He was selling them for $38 a roll, I think, or something like that. And he sold out in a day.
It's a hefty turnaround. It's a hefty profit.
Yeah. Yep.
Yep. So I'm going to look and see. We'll do that. I want to get all the rolls in. I have them labeled where they came from. So we'll do Oregon, Utah, Colorado, Philadelphia, Florida, and Massachusetts.
Well, I would just recommend that people sit for a while, because if history repeats itself, like I think it will, the semi-quincentennial mintages are going to be much like the 1976 mintages.
Probably.
Super high, and eventually, they'll be out in abundance.
Well, and there's already been an article in the magazine that comes from the ANA that says we've already hit numbers on production that are higher than any number that we've done in the last.
Yeah.
And we're in February.
Yeah. So they only have numbers for 1 month.
Yeah. So we'll be seeing a large set of numbers. We'll probably
unless they started minting them last year, because they did that with the 1976 coins.
They did that in 75.
Yeah, they made them all year in 75, most of them.
Yep. And if you look at the mintages of 2025, the mintages are very low in retrospect to the coins compared to what we have been. We've seen a downsloping grade of coins. I'm going to actually go into circulating coin production.
Now your quarters are not going to be the mintages that the 1976 were, because there's 5 different designs. So each design will have its own mintage number.
So here's an interesting fact. You ready?
Ready.
All right. So here are the mintages. I'm going to zoom this in a little bit so you guys can see this a little bit better. Mayflower Compact, 48 million. Philadelphia, 31 million. But guess what? These are 2025 numbers.
Yeah.
2026.
Okay.
So if I go to 2026, we'll see the additional coins, and you'll see that there's an additional set that's out there. They've started doing the Revolutionary War. What they don't list here are the dimes, and I don't know where the dimes are.
Dimes are on the first. They already got the first one. Dimes are at like.
I've got.
Dimes are up.
You're just looking at the quarters.
They're 110 million minted in the month of January.
Semi-quincentennial circulating coin.
Yeah, I posted it in the Facebook group, the nickels, the dimes, everything.
Already almost 500 million 500 million coins were produced in January.
Yeah.
So
There's
let me
the dimes right there.
but let me explain to you what they've done. Okay. If you come under here and you go under semi-quincentennial,
Yeah.
you'll only see the quarters. You will not see the dimes. The dimes are under circulating cents or circulating
Okay.
coins. So if you're coming to the US Mint and you want to find these, you got to come up here and you got to go to the circulating coins. When you find the circulating coins, you do 2025. Then you can see the dimes.
No, 2026.
2026.
There we go.
And those numbers will update probably
the
like
end of
in the first week of
March.
Yeah. They'll update.
So, but if you look at some of the numbers, they're already.
It's interesting that Denver Mint is lower this year than Philly for the dimes.
Yep. It'll be interesting to see. They may pump up a little bit.
Yeah.
Denver may be putting out some of their regular circulating coinage too. But Philadelphia may have done more. But yeah, the nickels are out. The quarter program, the half dollars, they shows you everything.
Yeah. Yeah, they're all out. And the half dollars are not considered NISCs either this year.
Well, that's kind of, they consider them NIFCs, but they put them out
not
if they need them. That they've done that
No.
since 2021 now.
No, they
This is
NIFC
public
is a
release.
specific,
Oh,
a
okay.
specific
All right.
designation. Yeah.
Now these are public release. They're releasing all of those. That's part of the Coin Act of 2020, 2021. That the dimes and the half dollars are circulating coinage. They're not considered NIFC. They're actually classified circulating.
Bring back the. Somebody said something.
What one did the Mint have that sold out? All of them.
Oh, Robert Bruce said somebody told me that the Mint was pulling all the silver. The Mint doesn't pull anything.
No, there was armored car companies that say they're pulling it. They're putting a label on the box, and I know people that search the boxes and still find silver. But just to search a box for silver, it's kind of, I don't know. For me, it's just.
Well, we're variety hunters.
Yeah,
so
they're worth more than the silver for the most
not
part.
everybody is a variety hunter. And that's okay. Everybody shouldn't be because,
that way there will be more stuff
More for us.
Well, yeah. I mean, if you're a stacker, you're obviously not going to hunt half dollars for just, for varieties. And variety is learning about, you really need to learn about varieties before you start hunting for them. And not everybody's interested in that. And that's okay. I feel like new people in the hobby, because of all the clickbait that's out there, feel like that's what the hobby is. And it's not, because that's all, that's pretty much all there is out there. You can find this $1,000 variety in your pocket change or whatever. And so that's what they think coin collecting is. But it's, there's so much more to it.
And just as a reminder to the people who are coming in late, if you're looking for the topic that we talked about this morning, it's the first 30 minutes. You can just rewind this and watch the first 30 minutes if you're looking for that particular portion of it. That's fine. When this is done, I'm actually going to pull this out and just that topic as a video.
Yeah.
Because it's only 30 minutes, but I want you guys just to know that that was basically just the first 30 minutes of the live stream that just for those people who are coming in going, hey, why aren't we talking about
So here's the thing. Some banks, I want to say Bank of America or some banks require, if their customers bring in like change, they require the customer to roll their own rolls. They cannot bring in loose change. Some banks require that if you bring in change, you have to bring it in already rolled. My aunt used to have to do that. She used to have to roll her own. And they give their customers the actual wrappers.
Well, rolling your own means something different to our community
Well,
too.
that
So.
okay, but roll their own coins. I sense a topic here today. So, they actually will, and that's why you'll see sometimes, like, I remember Klesh one time, he found a guitar pick and a ring in the rolls that he opened up. Yeah, clickbait is horrible. It's such a it's a problem. Paula's grandmother was hip. No, my grandmother actually wasn't. My grandmother never said a cuss word. She didn't have a driver's license. Well, one of my grandmothers, my mom's mom. She was a sweet little Southern lady who made biscuits and sang church hymns.
Every time I hear about your grandmother, I think about the Mercury.
Yeah.
Yep. That book, and you open it up and it was all rotted about at the back.
Oh gosh, I know.
Yeah.
That was so sad. That wasn't my grandma's fault though. That was my dad's fault. That's how he just took him and stuck him in his old musty garage.
Oh, that always makes me sick to hear that story.
Yeah, I know. Me too.
I did get a really nice email. I don't know if Blaine is in. I got a nice email from him. He's sending me stuff to update my book. So I want to say thanks to Blaine. I appreciate it. Let's see. I had a bank that only took coins from my machine. Mine does the same thing. So you have to actually go to the. We have to actually go to the Coinstar. Now there was something that was said earlier by Robert Bruce that the mint is taking silver out. No. The Coinstar had actually tried for a while. I don't know if they were successful. Tried to find a mechanism by which would kick silver out.
Coinstars often reject silver coins.
Yeah, so they were trying to do something where instead of rejecting, it actually kicked it into another bin. So it didn't actually, reject the coins. It actually sucked them into another bin, which allows them to go through. I don't know if they actually did that. I was talking to,
interesting.
It's been a while ago, was at a bank in which when I was doing a lot of coin searches was my return bank. And one of the guys goes, "Oh, you coin search?" And I was like, "Yep." He goes, "So have you heard anything about this? You heard the rumors about the silver being stripped out of these coin machines?" And I'm like, "Well, I heard that they had done something about it." He's like, "Well, basically what they're trying to do is they're trying to make it where your rejects don't get rejected anymore. To where their rejects just go into another coffer." And I'm like, "Well, that'll tick off a bunch of people."
That, and there'll be some lawsuit that'll stop that.
So I'm like, I don't see that happening. I don't think that'll ever take. But he's like, "Oh, well, we'll see." I'm like, it's they would have to give you credit for it. And then you're technically ripping off the bank if you're holding it. So how do you do that? I don't understand how they would implement that. It just doesn't make sense. So I think a lot of it's conjecture. I think a lot of it's people wanting to believe stuff is going to happen. Again, misinformation, not disinformation.
The one guy was saying that he's getting boxes that say they're already pre-searched for silver. I think that's just a label so the armor car company and the banks don't have to pay it, because unlike what people may think, the banks pay good money to have those coins rolled up. Yeah. That's like my credit union. They were telling me that a $25 box of pennies costs them like $40.
Some banks charge people.
And so most banks give them out as a service to their customer. Then, banks don't give a whole lot of services out anymore.
Oh, vote for Pedro. That would make me sick. Being at my LCS when a guy comes in to sell his dad's collection of C.C. Morgans, which he proudly explained he had been up all night cleaning them.
Oh.
Yeah, folks, You know, there's a lot of channels that say, well, here's how to properly clean a coin. Don't. Just don't. Take it
And
in
sometimes
first.
there's a reason why you got to do it, but don't. I mean,
But-
even when, like, I get something that has a blob of grease on it, I leave the grease on it.
Take it in first, right? If you're
I
going
don't
to
have
do
to worry
something,
about that.
send it in for conservation.
If it's a common coin that's been in circulation and stuff, then I
Oh,
always
don't
tell
worry.
people, just do whatever you want. It's
Oh, could you
it's a
imagine having
common
the
day
85
coin with no
cc?
variety or no error, and you just want, you know what the date is, whatever. But
Yeah. Could you imagine if one of those was the 85 cc? Oh, I mean, by value, it would still, because of its rarity, it would still be an expensive coin, but there's definitely a lot of money that would be left on the table. Again, just don't clean your coin.
Yeah,
One
that's the
thing,
best rule of thumb. Just don't do it. There's no need to.
one thing we tell people, because and Paul is really good about saying this. I've heard her say it 1,000 times, and that is, you're only the temporary steward of that.
yep.
You clean them for and people say, well, I clean them because I want them that way. Well, that's great. But the person who comes out after you, who finds out that they've been cleaned, they're the ones who have to get told, well, these were cleaned in the past. Well, I didn't clean it. Doesn't matter. They've been cleaned in the past. So be a good steward of your money. Be a good steward of your collection. Don't clean it. Just don't. I know a lot of people are like, well, if I want to clean it, if I want to, you know what? If you have common date stuff, by all means. But if you don't know what you have, you shouldn't be cleaning coins anyway. Shouldn't do it.
Yeah.
Well, folks, did you guys like this story? Did you guys enjoy
Oh, always.
the story? I think I want to do, again, I like doing this. I need to give credit where credit is due. I need to actually pull the article up, and the person who wrote the article, I need to give them credit for giving me the idea to do this. But if you want to do it, I'll put some information in there, show you how you can access it, and I'll reference that. But I just thought it was a lot of fun. Again, doesn't directly tie to the semi-quincentennial, but the one thing I'm trying to do over the course of this year, I want to be a source where people can go back in 30, 40 years and go, all the stories are there. The history, the presidents, the money, the mints, all the stories are there. I want to be a resource for that, because the semi-quincentennial doesn't seem to be a very big deal to a lot of people. It's a big deal to me. I love the Declaration of Independence. I love what we have as a nation. I don't like what we're experiencing, the growing pains as a nation that we're experiencing right now. But I really want to document a lot of the stories and remind people of our history before it changes. And, you know, a lot of people are talking about the history changing and, you know, things being added and removed. I want to make sure that I can track it for what it is. So that's one thing that I really want to capture during this semi-quincentennial. I want to be a good source. So if you guys have historic items that you want to talk about, presidents that you want to talk about, what they've done for design, U.S. Mint, if you want to talk about a specific designer, things of that nature, send me information. Let me know. I'm going to continue to talk about stacking. We'll talk about silver and gold. I know Paula just threw up a little bit in her mouth. But what's important is, because I need people to understand that and I hear this, Mike's going to say, hey, that's my line. And it absolutely is. The Coin Show podcast, who, by the way, will be on tomorrow, immediately following my live stream at 10 o'clock Central, 11 o'clock Eastern. They say something that is absolute fact, and it's something that everybody needs to. Without you, it's kind of futile. So if there's stuff that you want to hear, if there's information that you want to know about, please do me a favor. Let me know. I don't mind writing. I'll do more of these stories, and we can do more chit chat, but let me know. My Saturdays is going to there's always going to be a story. So I appreciate any feedback that you guys can give me on that. I paid $75 for a polished 1970 full head, full date SLQ. If you needed it and you wanted it, then do it. I need to do a meetup in Vegas. It would be a ton of fun. And what's sad about that is we actually had a coin show that started out that way. It's no longer that way.
Yeah, I heard the Vegas coin show is not very good anymore.
Well, that's not the coin show that I was talking about. We actually had one that initially was focused a lot around YouTube, the coin collecting YouTube.
I haven't heard anything about that this year.
No, I haven't either. It kind of has
In Vegas?
No, Oklahoma.
Oh, yeah.
What's
Well,
going on? Because
yeah.
I got a dealer that wants me to come out there, and
Yeah.
I'm probably
No,
not.
I know it is, but yeah. Well,
My show schedule, I get to go to about 4 shows a year, and 2 of them are in Orlando. So
it became more about the U.S. Mint, and you know, the little guys didn't matter anymore. Unfortunate. But I think that Mike and Matt are trying to, I think Matt may be trying to get his show kind of like a meet and greet type.
that would be neat. Indiana's not bad. I could go visit one of my kids. Give me a
It
reason.
should be at my house, and everybody should bring a paintbrush
Yeah.
What?
and a rake.
The paintbrush for the grass and the rake for the floor.
Right. Yeah. I need my house painted and my lawn raked.
Well, I think it'd be fun to do a meetup. I'll have to find a.
It would be. We were talking about that before we went live last week.
Yeah, the fun show, doing a fun show one time.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, it'd
doing
be great. Get some people
Going
to speak
flying
and
to
get a bunch of
Orlando.
YouTubers together.
Is relatively cheap.
Talking a show promoter into doing a whole social media section.
I think it'd be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Have some people come in, coordinate like a series of live streams.
Yeah.
Kind
Everybody
of like
could
what
do
Matt
like
and Mike do in the Coin Show podcast when they go, because they're doing Baltimore this year. They got the fun show that they did. They've done some amazing interviews. If you want to see some great interviews, you have to go check out Coin Show podcast. They've done a lot.
I got to say, fun show this year had tons and tons of YouTube stuff.
Nice.
I bumped into probably 30 or 40 different creators that I knew. And
But
there was
wouldn't it be
people that I
cool
was hearing.
if everybody could do like a 1 hour long like live show, or if they had so many, they like a half hour, and just one out run after the other after the other after the other. Remember years ago when myself and Ken Peavy put on that oh gosh, I can't even remember what it's called anymore, when we did the whole weekend and everybody did like I'm sure Bill 457 remembers. He was in it. We did on YouTube. We did, oh gosh, what was it called, Bill? I can't even remember what I put it on. And I can't even remember what it was called. But it was like every creator, creators on YouTube all picked a time, and we did like this whole weekend like thing. Anyway, I can't remember, but it would be cool if
You were talking about that. That was
yeah.
Oh, hold on. It was the
oh my gosh, it's horrible that I can't remember.
Yeah, it's basically like a 3 or 4 hour block, and then every 30 minutes a new person would come.
Yeah, and every coin seminar weekend. Thank you, David. Yeah, we did the coin seminar weekend, and I gave everybody a clue. So everybody who did a video, who did a live stream, got a clue that they gave out to the audience. And at the very end of coin seminar weekend, Ken Peavy there was a prize at the end where if you put all the clues together, you could be able to figure out what the clues meant. Yeah, that was fun.
That would be a lot of fun. I bet it would be a
That was
pain
a-
in the butt to coordinate, but I think it would be.
It was a lot of work to coordinate, but it was totally. I think we did it for 3 years, and it was a lot of fun. Coin seminar weekend, yep. And that was a lot of fun.
That would be a lot of fun. Maybe we'll have to get some people together and discuss, because I think that would
Yeah.
be. It would be a lot of fun to talk about different topics, and you could go
Well, and
anywhere from get Jack Young to talk about counterfeits. I can do a story. You can do some interviews with some big names. There would be a lot of
And
fun.
it grew people's channels too.
I think it'd be a lot of fun.
Yeah, it really
Well-
helped grow people's channels, and
So
it was
here's,
a lot.
for those of you who don't know, one way that I really started to grow my channel was something that Mad Stacker and them used to do, which was the premiere train.
Yeah.
And this was eight people got together. They had a 15-minute video. They'd do coin boxing and whatever. And it was during that time frame where my channel really started to grow. But I learned a lot about a bunch of different channels and got to know, what people like and some of the skills that other people do. And it's a lot of fun. I think it'd be a great opportunity. It'd be a lot of work. Again, there'd be a lot of coordination, but I think that would be fun.
Yeah, it would be a lot of fun. And it is a lot of work, but I mean, I definitely would be up to bringing that back for sure, because that was fun. Bill 457, do you remember the proof Indian had sent that he gave away? I actually bought that back. I bought that coin back. I'm so happy to own that. But yeah, it was a marathon. It was like a marathon, Robert. Yeah, and it was a lot of fun. The creators all got to pick their times and decide if they wanted to do a half hour or a 1 hour live stream. And they just picked their topic, and it was a lot of fun.
That would be really cool.
And back then they didn't have the premiere thing, so people could actually probably even like pre-record it and do it as a premiere.
Well, so here's the thing, and this is something that I established when we did the premiere train. There's a methodology that you can actually use to connect people when they're doing premieres and when they're doing lives, that I can send people. Oh, by the way, Mike, immediately following the stream, I need you to call me. I need you guys to turn something on your channel so that I can auto forward people to your channel on Sunday. You can coordinate it to where I can, so when my stream is ending, people will automatically go to the other location.
Right, a redirect.
Yep. And so you can set that up all the way through. And so if people are set up properly and you do it, you can have it to where they just automatically go from one to the other. If a person ends 10 minutes early, they still go to that area. They just, they don't have to find it. It automatically is there. Trying to throw links in chat when people are on telephones is a pain in the butt. So anything that you can do to aid in the automatic advancement of that is good. So, but get with me, Mike, and let's coordinate that, because I want to be able to do that on Sundays.
Yeah, I wish they did it on a different time. Anyway, well, I'm going to get going. Thanks for doing this. That was
I'm
very
going to go
interesting.
wash my dog again.
I learned a lot.
I'm going to go cutting vegetation down.
Have a great weekend, you guys.
You too.
Thank you guys so much for your time.
Bye.
Appreciate it. Have fun, Eric. What are you guys doing today? What's the plan
I
of
think
Copper
Chuck's
Coins?
doing reveals today. I was going to do one, but I'm going to go out and work in the yard and try and get this mess cleaned up before it gets too cold again. And my next broadcast is Monday, I think.
We got another cold front coming in here too, so
Yeah, we got cold Sunday night, Monday, and then it starts warming up again, and then they say no more cold. But how can they go further than 5 days?
Topics for tomorrow. Anything that you would like to do?
No, anything. I'm just happy to be here.
Sounds like a plan. All right. Well, I'm going to reach out to everybody and see if there's anything that people would like to see. I do have a video that I'm going to be dropping here shortly for Monday. It's going to be on the semi-quincentennial, but after the Coin Show podcast, I'm going to be dropping a Greg Bennick video. It's part 1 of the video series that I did with him. I'll drop one, and then I'm going to drop another one. I'm going to make some edits real quick based off some feedback that he got. But if you guys don't know who Greg Bennick is, he's an error collector. Very nice guy. Lots of great information. Talks a little bit about what he does, and then talks about the error world. There are 2 videos in that. You're going to make sure you share those out. We'll make sure we get that out to you. And then I will see you guys tomorrow. Don't forget, Coin Show podcast immediately following the stream tomorrow. Take care of yourselves. Be well, be blessed. And again, if you have anything you want to see, send me a message. Comment on a video. And make sure you do the most important thing. Share it out. All right, folks? Take care of yourselves. We will see you guys.